Ladies and gentlemen, it has happened. Mike Evans is expected to sign a 3-year deal with the San Francisco 49ers. Just moments after Shrake said, hey, this Evans deal is coming soon. And he believes that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are now out of the conversation for Mike Evans. Adam Schefter says, while you're saying that, Shrakes, let me actually tell you what's happening. The Niners now have a first ballot Hall of Famer, a man who has been able to accomplish great things no matter who's playing quarterback, has won a Super Bowl, has experienced the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the top all the way down at the bottom. Now he's heading to San Francisco with a litany of weapons and an offense with Brock Purdy guiding it that can certainly put up ridiculous numbers. Him now going deep down the field for Shanahan and Purdy. Good night. Maybe the Niners make a run at this thing. Let's go into the free agency frenzy zone with the man who put that tweet out. Shefty, what's the deal? How do we get here, pal?
Warriors have needed help at wide receiver. Look, they're moving on from Brandon Ayuk this offseason. Everybody knows that. They have a situation where Deebo Samuel left last year. So really, Ricky Pearsall is their proven wide receiver. They wanted a veteran presence out there. Mike Evans was interested in leaving Tampa for a variety of factors. And at the Combine, the word on the street all along was that he was interested in leaving. Now, he lives in Houston during the offseason. A lot of people thought initially maybe the Texans. But the Niners are the team that was interested in him. And they were talking today. And I think the hang-up, as we alluded to before, was they were coming together on a deal, and then there was a hiccup like, wait, hold on. We thought you could do this, or we thought you could do that. And they had to work through that. Now, it's going to be a 3-year deal. It's really a shorter-term deal than that, but it's going to be called a 3-year deal for cap purposes. And this is an emotional departure for both Mike Evans and the Buccaneers. This was the very first draft pick that the Buccaneers general manager Jason Light made in Tampa. Mike Evans is going to be in their Ring of Fame. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He is an elite wide receiver. For him to leave an organization like that, he just felt like he wanted to try something else, wanted to be in a different offensive system, wanted to see what life was like elsewhere. And so he now will finish his career in San Francisco as a focal part of their offense. The 49ers were in the market for a wide receiver, Mike Evans, to the 49ers on a 3-year deal.
A lot of turnover in Tampa Bay at the offensive coordinator role. Obviously, Baker Mayfield now has been his quarterback for the last couple of years. Tom Brady, Jameis Winston, the list goes on and on. He'll go out there with Kyle Shanahan's offense and Brock Purdy ready to slice and dice. I'm excited to see what Shanahan does with him. I think he's probably pretty excited as well. Let's head over to the free agency fun zone. Schrags thought the deal was coming quick and said maybe a sleeper team. I think we brought up the Niners, but still didn't necessarily expect it. Why did they make this play, Schrags? And what does this mean, Orlovsky?
That was so fun, and that is why we do this thing in real time.
Come on.
I was hearing that the Buccaneers were out. Well, why were they out? Because seconds later, we find out that the 49ers had closed the deal. I can't stress it enough, and Adam's done it, and I know at home you'll be rolling your eyes. The sentimental connection between Mike Evans and that franchise is so strong. Stronger than what Brady had with them, stronger than what Gronk had. This is a guy who's been there all these years, ups and downs, and is now finally leaving. And it was like, if you love someone, you let them go. And at some point, the Buccaneers said, you know what? If we're going to make an end, okay, go on and explore other options. Derek Gilmore is the agent. He's been with them all along. They worked the deal out, and there were many other interested parties. But 3 years they get on Mike Evans, and he goes to the 49ers, who, yes, were eliminated from the playoffs in a divisional round, but were so injured last year down the stretch. He believes he can still win and still make that top dollar money with the 49ers.
He led them in basically every offensive category. All they do is draft good players. They've drafted McMillan. They've drafted Egbuka. They drafted Tez Johnson. And so they've got these other young players that are really talented that make it, I don't want to say easier, but you can justify not overspending for Mike in this situation because you've got people in the...
And you say Ricky Pearsall at one wide receiver, you throw this guy on as a second.
Kittle comes back.
Caleb comes, and obviously you get Kittle back, you get Juszczyk back. You suddenly put this thing together, and it's like, all right, 49ers in a wide open NFC. We talk about the Rams and the Seahawks. All right, how about Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers still planting their flag and saying, we're not going anywhere yet?
And especially with Mike Evans, D-Butt, what does it look like in a Shanahan offense with Mike Evans? How do you think he is used? Because, we got a lot of like, hey, we need you to do exact stuff. Or is Evans there to go ahead and take one of the safeties out of the box so everything else can open up? How does he directly affect everything else going on whenever you're trying to game plan this Niners team?
Yeah, when you talk to defensive coaches or defensive players, they'll tell you Kyle Shanahan, Kittle when he's healthy, C-Mac, he's a mismatch for anyone that's guarding him. So now whoever they draft or whoever they bring in on part of that wide receiver core, they can sit in a room and learn from Mike Evans week in and week out, because you don't have just these guys, falling out of the sky.
Can he still play?
I think he can still go, because the type of guy that he is, the body that he has, like I said, he's not a guy who's going to be taking the top off of defense like he did 5 or 6 years ago, but even when he's covered, he's not.
I love what's happening. Linderbaum goes. Mike Evans goes.
Right.
We're trying to update the amount of money that has been spent so far in these 14 and a half hours of free agency frenzy. It's over $1.4 billion in contracts. What a day for the boys.
Unbelievable.
Hey, way to go, boys. I think that says something about the health of a league, obviously, whenever you're able to give that amount of contracts out in 14 and a half hours. And we're not even anywhere near when these contracts are allowed to be, like, actually officialized. That's on Wednesday. We are currently just in a place where it's like, this is the deal that's being done. And it wasn't like this always. Schefter actually drove for this particular era to happen for the NFL schedule. It was happening, but nobody was talking about it. And then the NFL opens up a tampering period. Then there's a pre-tampering period that's allowed. And it's like, was it even tampering then if you're legalizing it? It's almost like first convo, second convo, deal, and then official season starts season.